Now it is time to see the second type of relation plot. It's called a bubble plot. It's a variation of scatter plot where data points are represented by circles or bubbles instead of points. In scatter plot, we had the data points represented by points, but now instead of point, we use circles. So the bubble point will introduce a third variable which is represented by the size of the bubbles. So we can add a third parameter, a continuous parameter, and that can be used in the form of size of the bubble. So the first parameter is a continuous one which talks about x-axis. Second parameter is another continuous one which talks about y-axis. And third parameter which is another continuous one which can be used to decide the size of the bubble, and we can also use a fourth variable which usually or which will be of discrete type or categorical, and each category can be represented by a different color of the bubble. So the key features, so the data points represented by bubbles, the axis, what is x-axis, what is y-axis, then we have bubble size, and then we have bubble color, and of course labels and legends are must. So where can we use bubble plots? So the common use cases, so it is used for visualizing 3 or 4 dimensional data with 2 or 3 continuous variables and one categorical or continuous variable represented by the size or color of the bubbles. So this is used for highlighting patterns, trends, correlations between the variables in the data. It's used for comparing the magnitude of a variable across different categories and groups. So to make sure that the bubble plots are used to their best efficiency, some best practices are, so choose an appropriate scale for the axis and the size of bubble to ensure that the data points are spread out evenly across the plot area. So don't just allow all the bubbles to get cluttered at one place and rest of the area is just white space. No, just try to scale the two axes such that the bubbles are spread out evenly all over the region so that better visibility is there, and you can have each one visible clearly. Then make sure that the size of the bubbles are used appropriately. So better use different colors, shapes, transparency levels to distinguish between different groups or categories within the data set. So there are now you can keep adding multiple features onto the same plot. One feature x-axis, second feature y-axis, third feature size of the bubble, fourth feature can be color, fifth feature can be shape, and so on. So that way multiple multiple features can be included here. So out of which the x, y, and size are for usually they can be for the continuous, while color, shape have to be used for categorical data. So we must make sure to add title, axis labels to provide context and clarify the meaning of the variables being used. Make sure to add legend so that everything is well understood on one plot itself. We don't have to move around keeping asking for what red is, what blue is, what round is, what diagonal diamond shape is, and all that. So just put all the things together on one place as a legend, so that will make understanding very easy. Make sure to give a proper title and access label so that it becomes easier to understand the total meaning what we want to convey. And definitely outliers are going to skew the interpretation of the data, so particularly in the size of bubbles. So unnecessarily, if one data is outlier, so it gets the size of that bubble will be too big or too small, so that makes things look totally different. So ensure that outliers are removed from the data set before plotting the bubble plots. So here we are showing an example of a bubble chart. So there is one x-axis which talks about a continuous variable, where is one y-axis which talks about another continuous variable. Then we find various bubbles spread out in that, and so much of information can be given through this one chart. What all information we can get? The first one, here we have plotted four series of data together. We used in different colors. Then for each data, the size of the bubble is changing. That indicates the value of that particular data for that series. So a bigger bubble, more value; smaller bubble, less value. And their position will represent the x and y axis values. Color represents the category. So in all, what all we have used, the one continuous variable or one continuous feature for x-axis, one continuous feature for y-axis, one continuous feature for size of the bubble, and one categorical feature for using the colors. So if for each category one color is used. Here our data was containing four categories, therefore we could use with four data, four different colors. Now overall, if you look at it, one we can say that all the data have some positive trend. So you can look at how they are scattered. So if you look all points without considering size and color, we can say that there is some positive correlation. Other side, color wise, if you look at it, then the three red dots, if you look, three red bubbles, if you look, yeah, they have some positive trend. Three green, they are having positive trend. And what it is trying to say is, as the x-axis, so if you look for the green one, then you see that with increase in x-axis, the y-axis value is also increasing, and along with that the size of the bubble is also increasing, which says that x is increasing, then y is increasing, then the third parameter which is used for the size of the bubble, that value is also increasing. Same case with the red also, and in red and green, if you look carefully, it looks like some exponential curve, or some non-linear curve, not a linear one. But if you look for yellow, then it has got a different meaning. But yes, the trend is with increase in x, the size is increasing, but y value is not steadily increasing as we found in red and green. Same thing is true with the blue also. With increase in x, the size of the bubble is increasing. So just with one bubble plot, so much of information can be conveyed to the viewer. So that's the power of a bubble plot. So that's it about bubble plots. The next thing we see what we